Good morning, Michelle. It's so good to have you, and I'm so very excited for this October edition of RCM Connections. I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce yourself because it's always fun when I hear the titles.
Well, thank you, Jenna. Mine is a mouthful, and I keep teasing Philip that he needs to come up with a catchy acronym, but we're not there yet. So I'm Michele Bear. I'm an executive director in the revenue cycle at Baptist Health in Jacksonville. I have oversight for revenue integrity, which includes the charge master. So a piece of the operations, right? The
Right.
front, mid rev cycle operations. And then I have team member engagement for the revenue cycle. I have reporting and data analytics. I have education and training. I have quality assurance. And I feel like I'm missing something, but I hope I caught them all. Operations plus a bunch of support areas that kind of support the entire revenue cycle. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
How long have you been with Baptist?
I've been with Baptist for about almost January would be 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, it's October, so let's tell some stories. And you are one of our survivors. So, our magazine in October, it's this special issue. October, we give back and breast cancer awareness, obviously. And you are one of our survivors. And then we talk about the fall and the fall festivals and how we love on one another. And it's kind of leads us, well, it not kind of, it leads us into that Thanksgiving, into that charity mindset. So, let's talk about your journey and about being a survivor.
Yeah, so at the ripe age of 43, I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. I had went in for a mammogram in February of the year, it was 2016, and had a normal mammogram, dense breast tissue. You know, those of us that have that have to be even super diligent. So ladies, make sure you do your self breast exams because those are critically important as well. So I had a normal mammogram in February and just happened to be lying in bed one night. Very strange. I had this sensation in my armpit, and I was like, what is that? And then immediately felt a lump. So my mother had fibrocystic breast disease. So I kind of felt like, well, maybe it's cystic and let me just kind of watch it. And don't watch it, ladies. Go immediately if you find something like that. So kind of just monitored it for a little while and finally said, okay, it's not going away, it's getting bigger, and went in and had the biopsy and everything and was diagnosed. So, um, you know, tough stuff to get through. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and chemo and surgery and just the whole cancer diagnosis certainly will test your resiliency. But we're women and we're very strong, so
You
we
are.
forge forward and find a way to get through it.
So where did you start? Did you start with your family physician? Did you start with your GYN? How did you start your journey? I think sometimes we get the mammogram and then where do you go?
Yeah, so my referral came from my GYN. So the results went back to her. And then, just kind of worked through that process with her. I think in today's age, a lot of us, our family physicians do that work for us, especially if
Mhm.
you're not within those childbearing years anymore and you don't perhaps need the OB piece of it. So typically that comes from whoever referred you for your mammogram, because that's a doctor that's going to get the results and manage that. So for me, it was my GYN at the time.
So you're a survivor now, and I love that. I love that. And let's talk about a little bit about the commercial that we actually have shown online. I just thought it was beautiful. How did that come about? And just celebrate you. I love
Yeah,
it.
so I am a girly girl. I love all things makeup, frilly pink. So I happened to be on I think Twitter at the time, and Ulta Beauty had posted that they were doing a casting call for their breast cancer awareness campaign, which they do something every year. And this year in particular, they were looking for ladies who were in different stages of their survivorship or those even in active treatment. So I replied to the post, and they called me almost right away and did a video interview before COVID, before we did this video
Sure.
thing. So that was a little awkward. And they chose me and flew me to Chicago for like 3 or 4 days, I think, of just complete and total pampering.
Oh, I love it.
It was a very interesting experience if you've never been through something like that. So I certainly hadn't. So they took very good care of us, and it was a lot of fun. It was intimidating, and I definitely had to step outside of my comfort zone and be in front of the camera instead of behind it. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm super excited that I had that experience.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thanks for sending it over. Sometimes we kind of don't put ourselves first and should I send that or should I not? So thank you for sharing that with
Yeah,
us. So
sure. I
it's
also got
exciting.
to meet Darius Rucker through my cancer journey, so that was also a lot of fun. Got to spend a day with him tailgating at the University of South Carolina. We're both big Gamecock fans, so go
Okay.
Gamecocks. So a
Hootie,
couple of
hootie.
really fun things to come out of a really ugly experience, but you got to look for the positive, and those were certainly some of the positives.
Because it's a valley when you're going through it. We have a breast cancer survivor in our family as well. So it is a valley, but great health care, great physicians, great technology and meds.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yes.
For sure.
So let's go to the happy in regards to always celebrating. You mentioned one of your roles there. And let's talk a little bit about the Fall Festival and your role and empowering your employees and celebrating them, and not only your employees, but your families.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're very, very, very fortunate at Baptist to have a leader. Philip Boyce is our senior vice president and our chief revenue officer. And he has a passion for people. If
Mhm.
you've ever had a conversation with Philip, you feel that, and it's very genuine. And we're very fortunate here to have, Philip's championing of having an intentional department, if you will, even if it's just one dedicated FTE plus the resource that I provide and my assistant provides. We have a very intentional focus on team member engagement, right? Like we're in a very competitive age, especially in the revenue cycle with, you know, different types of entities such as Chick-fil-A and Target. And, we have different competitors now from a dollar perspective. So, we try to be very intentional on how we engage our team members because it's really important to recruit the right people and
Mhm.
retain them, right? You go through a
Right.
lot to try to train them and onboard them, and we want them to stay and we want them to feel welcome. We want them to feel very much a part of our organization. So, I'm very biased, so I will say that's my disclaimer. And I think we do a better job than most, but for us, it really starts at the top. So Philip and I have been kind of working on this for a while. When we first had a conversation about it, I wasn't quite sure. I was like, yeah, it sounds great, but I'm not sure how we're going to do this, right? And then my next point to him was we have to have funds. If you're going to give me the funds, we're going to turn it, we'll turn it around and make it beneficial. So we do a lot. We do a lot for our team members. Um, uh, we piggybacked off the Olympics this year and had our own
Mhm.
revenue cycle Olympics. And team members that work remotely that don't probably come in often, we had like our own version of Field Day and gave out awards and had a podium at our monthly mingle. So we do a lot, to say the least, of course, for our team members. But once a year in the fall, we do a fall festival. This was our
Oh,
second
I love
one.
it. Yes.
And that is an opportunity for our team members to bring their families, right?
Mhm.
So we don't often get to do that. We do departmentally, but when you look at the entire landscape of the revenue cycle, we don't get to do a lot where we can bring our families, and our families are our most important people, right? And
Right.
having that opportunity for us to provide an avenue or an outlet for our employees to come and meet other families and just have something for them to do that's a fun day that doesn't cost them anything, just their time. And it has become its own kind of thing,
I love it.
It
I
has
love it.
grown. It was bigger this year than it was last year, and it's just a lot of fun. The only challenge that we have is the weather. Is it going to rain? Is it windy? And is it really, really hot? Because, it's a atypical fall day in Florida.
Right.
So that's our biggest challenge. But it is a great opportunity just to celebrate the season. For us, our fiscal year starts over October 1. So we kind of tie it in with celebrating our accomplishments from
Nice.
the prior fiscal year and gets us all started, on the right foot for the new fiscal year. So That's what we do.
Fantastic. How many folks do you have in revenue cycle?
We have around 1,250,
Okay.
give or take.
So,
Yeah.
well, I know in Jacksonville, once our sports teams and all of those folks get wind of it, I'm sure that there'll be a lot of involvement. So it's just, I know that Baptist does such great work
Yes.
there in
Yes.
Jacksonville. So,
Yes.
well, thank you
I think so.
so much for your time, Michele.
Yes.
I'm just so excited to to showcase just your journey and the Fall Festival. We have lots of pictures for all of our readers, and Olympics pictures and fall, and then your story.
Yeah.
And we will put your LinkedIn account on the magazine. Should any of our female readers, and maybe some male, in regards to wanting, if they're in their journey or maybe have questions for you,
Sure.
I know that you're a huge advocate, and you know, we're all doing this together. We're all a big RCM community. So
That's right. Lift each other up
that's it, every
and
single day.
celebrate our successes. We got to do
Exactly.
that too. We got to do that
Exactly.
too.
Thank you
Well,
so
thank you
much
for
for your
having
time.
me.
Always,
Thank you.
always. All right. Thank you. Talk soon. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. My thanks to Michele for joining us. And as promised, here are the pictures. Have a great day, and we'll see you all online. Cheers.